potato.
This afternoon, over 50s roll up their sleeves as the vaccine rollout enters a new phase. Skydivers survive a terrifying ordeal over McLaren Vale.
Very lucky, especially coming down like that.
The investigation into what went wrong. A close call in the western suburbs after a car ploughs into a ceramics store. The Adelaide supermarket boss shaming shoplifters online. Has he gone too far? And both the Crows and Power sweating on some big names ahead of Showdown 49.
Live from Adelaide, 7 News with Mike Smithson.
Good afternoon. As we go to air, South Australians over the age of 50 are answering the call to get their COVID vaccinations. A new dedicated clinic has opened at the Women's and Children's Hospital as Phase 2A kicks into gear. Kimberly Pratt has the details.
Today marks the start of South Australia's Phase 2A rollout, which means anyone over the age of 50 can book to get their COVID shot. Authorities hope to see an immunisation surge as the Women's and Children's Hospital opens its doors to an AstraZeneca hub, one of many planned across the state. This hospital alone is aiming to vaccinate 600 people per week, with an ultimate goal to have 80% of the state's population immunised by October.
South Australia is clearly leading the nation in terms of our vaccination rate. We have the highest vaccination rate of any mainland state.
It is important to still book into these clinics, even though they're community-facing clinics.
With blood clotting fears putting many people off the AstraZeneca jab, authorities insist mass vaccination is the only way to avoid future outbreaks and lockdowns.
I can't see another way bar this as the road forward to overcome this.
If you don't have an injection, well, we're just going to be stuck in the dark ages, aren't we? We're not going to be going anywhere.
South Australia recorded 3 new cases of COVID-19 overnight, all of which are from a family which recently returned from overseas.
There's a sigh of relief across the country after Western Australia recorded no new community transmission of COVID for a second day. It follows the latest outbreak from hotel quarantine, with a security guard spreading COVID to 2 housemates over the weekend. WA Premier Mark McGowan has had his first AstraZeneca jab as testing numbers rose in Perth. It's been revealed the infected guard had the US variant of the virus, with 26 of his 58 close contacts so far testing negative. Witnesses have told of the terrifying moment a tandem skydive almost turned to tragedy at McLaren Vale. 2 men were rushed to hospital after plummeting to the ground following a parachute malfunction. Tim Yateman has the story.
It was here in this vineyard, not far from the centre of town, where the scenic skydive came to a crashing end. It was just before 6 yesterday evening when witnesses knew something was horribly wrong. They noticed 2 men on a tandem skydive spiralling towards the ground at frightening speed.
We were just walking down one of the paths here, and then we saw this parachute coming down and had a couple, it looked a bit funny, didn't it, Colleen? It was like a couple of little things tailing off it.
It's understood the parachute somehow became tangled after the pair jumped from 4,000 feet. Knowing they wouldn't make it to their intended landing spot about 2 kilometres away, the instructor made the bold decision to attempt an emergency landing in the vineyard, which is nestled amongst homes and a caravan park. Paramedics raced to the crash site, treating both men before they were taken to hospital. Incredibly, the 27-year-old first-time jumper suffered only minor bruising, while his 41-year-old instructor broke his elbow.
Very lucky, yeah, very lucky. Especially coming down like that.
Lucky he didn't land on a post or something in the vines. So he was pretty lucky.
SafeWork SA investigators and police spent several hours examining the scene, trying to determine exactly what happened. The frightening incident is now also under investigation by the Australian Parachute Federation.
A Welland shop owner's had a lucky escape when a car smashed into her business on Grange Road this morning. She just finished serving a customer at the front of the ceramic tile business when 2 cars collided, sending one of them through the windows.
I'd walked back in and luckily I'd headed just over there, so I was luckily a few metres away, and we heard the loud bang and turned to see the car coming towards us.
A 78-year-old Suzuki driver has been taken to the Queen Elizabeth Hospital suffering from shock. The other driver was treated at the scene. To breaking news now, and courts heard the elderly victim of a terrifying mugging at Kilkenny has since undergone heart surgery. Deanna Williams joins us live, and the alleged offender's just fronted court.
He has, Mike, and it's been revealed that 25-year-old Samir Mohammed was already on supervised bail. He's accused of watching an elderly man withdraw $800 from an ATM at Kilkenny. He followed him to the taxi rank, reached into his pocket and stole the cash. A Good Samaritan gave chase before Mohammed allegedly threatened to stab him with a 15-centimetre knife. The elderly victim was taken to the RA suffering from shock, but it's been revealed he's since had undergone heart surgery. The court heard Mohammed has a number of outstanding court matters, including breach of bail. The magistrate said his offending was too serious to warrant bail or give him home detention bail, and he'll be back in court later this month. Back to you.
Thanks, Dee. A former childcare worker has pleaded guilty to producing online abuse material featuring one of the children in his care. Father of two, Bronte Sirakovic, has admitted having the pornographic material, knowing the victim was under the age of 14. He was working at a Salisbury Downs childcare centre at the time of his crimes. The 30-year-old will contest 7 other charges, including having a sexual relationship with a child. He'll return to court later this month and faces up to 15 years behind bars. An armed robber remains on the run this afternoon after holding up an Evandale servo. He stormed the OTR on Portrush Road, armed with a large kitchen knife, just before 5 this morning, and threatened staff before fleeing with cash. The police dog squad was called in but failed to find the suspect. 4 nomads bikies have been arrested during a major drugs and weapons bust. Detectives from Operation Leo raided 7 properties last Friday, uncovering a cache of illegal firearms and $1.5 million worth of heroin and methamphetamine. 2 club presidents were among the members taken into custody.
Here we have 2 chapter presidents dealing in probably the worst 2 categories of drug you can get. You know, we've got methamphetamine and heroin. One totally destroys lives and the other takes lives.
5 cars, 4 Harley Davidsons and a jet ski were seized, along with $160,000 cash. Well, a week out from the federal budget, economists are predicting $30 billion in boosting to Australia's bottom line. The country's economic recovery from the depths of the pandemic is labelled red hot. Political reporter Rob Scott has more from Canberra.
Australia's economy has defied all expectations and is roaring back to life. Jobs have returned much faster than predicted, iron ore prices are sky high, and families have been much happier to spend than originally forecast, setting the scene for what economists predict will be a bumper budget next week.
The economy's getting better, so the budget's getting better. That's happening pretty fast.
Deloitte Access Economics expects the Treasurer to reveal a $30 billion turnaround to the budget bottom line this financial year, with deficits almost $100 billion lower over the next 4 years than originally forecast.
The deficits are still big. It's just they're a lot less big than Treasury thought even just a handful of months ago.
And with more than 90,000 people coming off welfare since the end of JobKeeper in March, the government will have more to spend on a suite of new measures. Among them, a $10 billion package for the aged care sector, expected to be the centrepiece of the budget, along with those already announced, including a $1.7 billion childcare package extending subsidies for families with more than 1 child, $750 million for defence, extending the low and middle income tax offset, and more money for women's services. The opposition says the economy is recovering despite the government, not because of it.
The recovery would be stronger if Scott Morrison wasn't stuffing up the vaccine rollout.
Economists have also given the thumbs up to the government over its decision not to attempt to repair the budget until unemployment is below 5%.
There was a major COVID scare when an asylum seeker from a cattle ship was able to slip past border authorities and move freely around Townsville. The Pakistani national, who hadn't been COVID tested, was in the community for more than 30 hours. Elliot Chipper reports.
When the livestock ship Polaris 3 docked here in the port of Townsville on Saturday night, 11 crew members walked off the ship and refused to get back on board. The group of men, originally from Pakistan, told Townsville Port authorities they were officially seeking asylum in Australia.
This group has been cleared and checked to enter our waters through, visas and through permits. So this is a little bit different. This is the first time this has happened in Townsville.
Detained and tested for COVID-19, authorities became aware that a 12th crew member had also left the ship at the same time and was unaccounted for. Believed to have slipped out of the port by hiding on a cattle feed truck, he was reportedly picked up in a waiting white van before disappearing.
The community was concerned. We had someone, who jumped off a ship at our port that's secure.
After a massive 30-hour multi-agency search, the man handed himself into police early this morning.
The federal and state authorities acted appropriately, acted very quickly to try and bring this matter to a close.
Those authorities now investigating how the man was able to escape.
Any person who assisted this 12th person in fleeing the port should be held to account and should have the full weight of the law and the courts thrown at them.
The live export ship with its 37 crew left Townsville this morning bound for Indonesia. Meanwhile, the wanted man was taken back to the port and placed on a bus with his fellow asylum seekers and driven to a quarantine hotel in Cairns. All 12 men have returned negative COVID-19 results and will begin the formal asylum seeker process after completing 2 weeks hotel quarantine.
It's been a grey day at times today with a cold couple of days ahead. Let's go to Amelia with the latest. Amelia, we've seen the odd shower.
Mike, we certainly have across the metro area today. In fact, we just had a light shower here over Penfolds at McGill just a few moments ago. There are showers on the radar at the moment too, rolling through the foothills. The best falls today have been about the hills and our southern suburbs. Mount Lofty's had about 1 millimetre in the gauge, while Parrowett has had almost 5, and we're seeing the wet weather in the wake of a weak cold front that cleared through this morning. It'll leave colder conditions on the way this week too, but a nice way to warm up is, at the very least, a walk around Penfolds here at McGill. All this month they're running tours of the grounds as part of the History Festival. It's a chance to see inside some of the heritage buildings here that you might not usually get to look into as well. Now, we do have an icy night on the way. In fact, some parts of the state could see frost in the morning too. I'll have details on that in the full forecast later in the hour. Mike.
Thanks, Amelia. You're in the right spot as always. Well, a frustrated Adelaide supermarket owner has taken to social media to name and shame shoplifters. Fair game or going too far? You decide after the break. Also, plans announced for a major upgrade of one of our most prominent hotels. Why Manchester United fans rioted at Old Trafford, storming onto the pitch and into the stadium. A deadly storm batters China with winds of more than 150 kilometres an hour. And a nighttime splashdown for 4 NASA astronauts.
Get your sea legs on, landlubbers.
Welcome aboard, mate.
Cause the new season's here. Just watch your fingies.
Yeah, baby!
With all new salty sea dogs.
He can't talk, he's watching where he's going.
They'll risk it all for the nation's biggest haul. New Aussie Lobster Men, tonight on Mate.
A little goes a long way at Macca's. Grab a small fries for $2 and for a limited time, 24 chicken McNuggets for $9.95. Part of our loose change menu.
Oh, when your roof is getting lost between the lichen and the moss, when your mortar isn't where it ought to be, and give it back that old appeal with a visit from Roof Seal. 1300 36 7070. Hi, I'm the Roof Seal. Let me clean, replace tiles, repair mortar and recoat your roof for a fraction of new roof price.
And there's 30% off if you call now.
1300 36 7070. Roof.
Get well sooner with Blackmore's Bio-C.
Senior Chief Kelly, it appears you have a common enemy with the United States.
They took everything from me. My family.
He is more dangerous and effective than any man we have in the field.
They brought that war into my house. They're gonna play by my rules now. No remorse.
'Cause I'm sucker.
You wash loads, but do you ever wash your washing machine? Every load leaves behind grime and, what's that smell? PinoClean Washing Machine Cleaner removes 99.9% of germs, leaving it clean and fresh for longer. It's not clean unless it's PinoClean.
Come on, Mum, have some water.
Everybody loves their country.
Country is a family business, making it right here in SA. Premium quality every day. Curtains, blinds, even zip tracks to create amazing outdoor rooms. So let's make it modern. Let's make it automated. Let's make it easy.
Let's make it for you.
City, suburbs or regions, Country goes everywhere. So call today for a free measure and quote. Is it any wonder?
Everybody loves their country.
Those men that came for your father. Did you see their faces? That's them.
I'm worried about what he might know.
You really want to die for this kid?
I promise you, I'll get us out of this.
Take a deep breath, hold it, and lay back.
Those Who Wish Me Dead. In cinemas May 13.
I'm the roof seal. Let me clean, replace tiles, repair mortar, and recoat your roof for a fraction of new roof price.
And there's 30% off if you call now.
1300 36 7070. Roof.
Very mild afternoon in Adelaide, just 18 degrees at Hindmarsh, where the trees on Port Road are well and truly showing their autumnal colours. Amelia will be back with the outlook a bit later. The South Australian retailer is going to great lengths to catch out shoplifters using security vision captured in store. They're creating social media videos complete with commentary. Casey Trelaw has the story.
Frustrated by the high-value items disappearing, the operators of Drake's supermarkets have turned to calling out thieves, who they've labelled magicians. The chain is collecting vision of goods vanishing from shelves and adding some colourful commentary to make social media videos.
Just happened to walk past the meat case and then bang, the meat goes missing. I wonder where it goes. Customer Magic Couples Edition. Check out this lovely couple. They're using the new Amazon Go technology where you just walk out of the entrance.
John Paul Drake says the comedic approach is resonating with customers.
We've had a great success putting these images out. Our customers have got in contact with us and we have told SA Police.
People who clearly don't deserve to be doing it, I think need to be caught.
And they are. The video of an alleged sock thief led to police identifying and arresting this 36-year-old man.
He looked like he gained 50 kilos in less than 15 seconds.
I'm sure that people will think twice about doing it when they know that somebody like John Paul is doing this.
Mr. Drake acknowledges there's people out there who are struggling, but he's no sympathy for those who are clearly trying to make a profit.
What we are talking about are repeat offenders.
Shoplifting is becoming such an issue. Here at Torrensville, some high-value items like Wagyu beef are only available on request.
A $32 million upgrade of the Intercontinental Adelaide is set to return the hotel to its glory days. The refurb will include a new Japanese restaurant and bar area, which the operators say will cement the hotel as a major player in the luxury sector.
It's been an absolute favourite for our city and for our state. It's hosted some enormous functions here, some incredible guests here.
The hotel will remain open when work gets underway later this year. Infuriated Manchester United fans have stormed the club's home stadium, demanding its American owners sell their stake. 2 police officers were injured and a major match postponed in the riots resulting from the fallout of the failed Super League debacle. Sarah Greenhalgh reports.
Well, this was supposed to be a title-deciding match between Manchester United and Liverpool at Old Trafford, but we didn't see any players, only protesters. Hundreds of Manchester United fans storming onto their own field, climbing onto the goalposts, kicking some goals, letting off flares. This is said to have been an unprecedented security breach. It started off outside the stadium. Other fans also went into the city centre, blocking the coaches of both of these teams from leaving their hotels. Manchester fans are demanding change at the very top. They want to see change to the ownership. The American Glazer family took over United back in 2005. They are billionaires who also own the NFL's Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Manchester United fans have never liked the Glazers, but the discontent has reached an all-time high after the absolute mess that was the European Super League a few weeks ago, with United being one of 6 English Premier League clubs who tried to form that breakaway competition. Police and the Premier League decided that the best thing to do for everyone's safety and security was to postpone that match. Authorities eventually managed to get it under control after a few clashes, but there are some questions being asked about how long it took police to arrive.
7 people have been killed and 14 others injured after a blaze destroyed dozens of fuel tankers parked in the Afghan capital, Kabul. The flames spread between the trucks, causing huge explosions which destroyed a nearby petrol station. The blaze also cut off electricity to the surrounding areas. An extreme thunderstorm in China has left 11 people dead and more than 100 injured. Nantong City near Shanghai was hardest hit. Winds gusting more than 160 kilometres an hour battered the city, bringing down trees and power lines. A fishing ship was overturned and parked cars crushed. Hailstones the size of large marbles also caused major damage. The 4 astronauts aboard the SpaceX capsule Resilience have safely returned to Earth. They landed in a rare nighttime splashdown not seen for decades. Tim Lester reports.
This mission is unusual for several reasons. The astronauts ending a marathon stay in space and arriving home at an unusual time.
The hatch is closed.
Copy, hatch closed.
167 days aloft. They left the Kennedy Space Center last November.
Dragon, SpaceX on the big loop, all hooks open and nominal.
Here, leaving the International Space Station.
And copies, we see separation.
For a 6.5-hour journey to the Gulf of Mexico.
And it looks like those might be our drogue chutes.
The 4 astronauts, 3 Americans and 1 from Japan, were to return last week, though high winds in the Gulf forced a change of plan to the first US splashdown of a returning space crew in darkness.
Seconds away from splashdown, everything nominal aboard Crew Dragon Resilience returning to Earth.
For more than half a century. Apollo 8 returned at night in late 1968. SpaceX is now building a new capsule for its next scheduled mission, taking astronauts to the space station, set for October.
Amazing stuff. Now with what's coming up in sport, here's Nikki.
Well, Adelaide Oval will be back to full capacity for Saturday night Showdown 49. It's a home game for the Power and aren't the stakes high with both teams coming off average performances. Some big names are also expected back with both Rory Sloane and Travis Boat pushing for a return from injury. And Aussie Jack Miller is back in the winner's circle again. He rode to an impressive victory for Ducati at the Spanish Grand Prix. We'll have lots more coming up soon. Mark?
We'll look forward to seeing you a bit later. Thanks, Nikki. Well, some eastern suburbs residents have got a big clean-up job on their hands after a tree came crashing through their roof. The details are coming up next. Also, a desperate rescue effort as a boat capsizes off California. Plus, the harbour city shrouded in smog and fog. The eerie pictures right after the break.
Tonight, the show that keeps you on the edge of your seat. 911, tonight on 7.
Vaseline's expertise in rescuing dry skin starts with moisturising glycerin and replenishing pro-lipids, the ultimate rescue ingredients in our new Vaseline Expert Care range. Rescues dry skin from first use. New Vaseline Expert Care.
Burns for Blinds, Adelaide's biggest in blinds. Biggest ever blind clearance. My jaw dropped when I saw the prices. Jaw-dropping discounts on all indoor blinds, all outdoor blinds and all curtains. Our biggest sale in 70 years. Our biggest discounts in 70 years. Your biggest savings in 70 years. Better phone Burns for Blinds now. Phone now and get a jaw-dropping discount.
Can you bring the glasses? Oh, it's annoying. They're still wet.
To help avoid that, just add Finish Rinse Aid. It speeds up drying for drier and shinier dishes. Try Finish Rinse Aid today.
I'd say good morning, Australia. But is it? We're filling our lives with unfulfilling stuff. It's time to wake the fake up to something genuinely satisfying. Excess fluff won't fulfill you, Greg. Trendy green goop. Try something with substance. Now here's a feed that won't leave you feeling empty. Get wholesome goodness with Australia's favourite Uncle Toby's Oats. For goodness sake.
For 100 years, Macleays have proudly carpeted thousands of Adelaide homes. But did you also know they have a huge range of wooden flooring and custom-made curtains and blinds? But it's the Macleay experience that keeps people coming back, helping you make the best choices for your home and your lifestyle. It's a proud tradition, and that's why they love what they do. So come in and meet the team at Macleay's Carpets, 243 Glen Osmond Road, Frueville.
Breathe new life into your home with Beacon's new winter collection at 30% off your second item. Mix and match from our entire range and get 30% off your second. Sail on now.
At Nurofen, we know demanding lives can cause headaches, but pain should never be in charge of your day. Unleash the speed of liquid with Nurofen's advanced liquid capsules. You do the full-on day, we'll do the fast headache relief.
When this happens, don't panic. Remember myglazier.glass. Myglazier.glass. Broken glass, we fix it fast. 7 days a week. Fast, reliable service for home, office, industrial, insurance. They'll come to you. So when this happens, don't panic. Myglazier.glass. My glazier is your glazier.
A massive tree limb has caused extensive damage after falling onto a block of units at Kensington Park. The branch came crashing down into Brook Avenue just before 7 last night, with a garage bearing the brunt of the impact. Fortunately, no one was inside at the time. Adelaide's hot property market has another stellar month. Researcher CoreLogic says in April, house prices grew 2.2% to an average of $526,000. In contrast, unit prices rose just 0.4%, the smallest growth of all the capital cities. It says further growth is expected, but the pace may slow as more housing stock enters the market. Thousands of dollars in watches and pearls have been stolen from a Victorian jewellery store. 2 bandits raided the Leon Gather store before fleeing in a stolen Lexus. The SUV was discovered burnt out about an hour away from the scene. At least 4 people have been killed and dozens injured after a suspected people smuggling boat capsized off the US West Coast. Lifeguards rushed in to rescue the migrants who authorities believe travelled from Mexico. US Bureau Chief Ashley Mullaney reports.
Good afternoon. It was just after 10 o'clock this morning when the emergency call came through. A 14-metre boat crashing against a reef just off the coast of San Diego. The number of people on board shocking lifeguards, migrants, at least 30 of them waving for help, struggling in the current. Before long, the boat was ripped apart completely, this sparking one of the biggest marine search and rescue operations in San Diego in decades.
There were people in the water drowning. Getting sucked out the rip current there. There's people on shore. We picked up about 7 people in the water. 2 of them are face down.
This was a mass rescue operation that turned into a mass casualty incident.
Customs and Border Patrol believe the boat left Mexico carrying migrants bound for the US. At least 3 people were killed, more than 20 taken to hospital. The boat clearly ill-prepared for an emergency.
Smugglers, they don't care about the people they're exploiting. All they care about is profit. To them, these people are just commodities. So you can see that in the way they treat them. Inadequate safety equipment. You know, sometimes they'll give them flotation devices and life jackets, but they're old, they're tattered.
The spike in crossings from Mexico, either by sea or over the land border, has fueled another worrying trend of so-called stash houses. The latest in Houston, Texas, where 90 people were found in one home. People smuggling rings, human trafficking, this an industry thriving and costing human lives.
Sydney had a rather murky start to the day. A combination of morning fog and smoke from hazard reduction burns produced thick smog, causing travel delays and road hazards. Tom Hartley has more.
Well, it's Sydney as we rarely see it. That smoky fog settling over the city, really quite a spectacle this morning.
It's so beautiful, you know, every day we come for morning walks and make a point to see sunrise. Today we're just missing it, but it's so lovely, it's so beautiful.
You really can't see ahead. I was expecting to see a sunrise.
We had a really decent inversion, reasonably shallow, but right across Sydney this means a layer of warm air stops any mixing. So as the ground level cools, the fog forms and it's essentially got nowhere to go.
There's still a distinct smell in the air. We're told as that fog moved across Sydney, it picked up residual smoke from those ongoing hazard reduction burns, lingering a bit longer in the city's west. The air quality and asthmatics suffering as a result.
Luckily I don't have asthma, but yeah, I do notice it.
We understand the smoke as an impact onto the community, but ultimately to do hazard reduction by burning results in smoke, and it is one of those things we can't avoid. There will be smoke in the air. But the work is so important in building the protection around our communities.
Poor visibility was the prominent problem this morning, not only in the air but on the roads and on the harbour. Several ferry services were cancelled right in the middle of the morning commute.
I'll have to find another way to work, mate. No dramas. It's okay. That's life.
By mid-morning, the sun started poking through the clouds, the fog dissipating and the air quality improving. These smoky conditions expected to linger until the rains come.
We're live to ComSec to check on the day in finance, coming up right after the break. Also, an Australian first trial. Could a gene injection repair your damaged eyes? Lights, camera, action, a big boost for the Australian film industry.
You and Jai are everything to me.
You want the family, but you don't want me.
I could lose my son again.
I'm not her, Dean, and I never will be. Look me in the eye and tell me that you're not still in love with Ziggy.
Home and Away, this week on 7.
Senior Chief Kelly is the third member to the attack. 3 perps are dead. Also killed was his wife.
They better hope he doesn't survive.
Why's that?
He is more dangerous and effective than any man we have in the field.
Give me a name. You were supposed to be Dad. Give me a name.
At Image Robes, you can get built-in robes designed, made and installed, all on a budget to suit you. Image Robes are the manufacturers, so there's no middleman, with over 40 colours to choose from. Call or visit Image Robes for an in-home measure and quote today.
At Orana, we believe everyone has the right to live the life of their choice. That's why we create opportunities for people with disability to live and work as independently as possible. Through our job opportunities, skills development programs, short-term accommodation, getting involved in the community, and daily living support in your home or ours. We're here to encourage and support real-life choices for people living with disability. Visit oranaonline.com.au. Orana, creating opportunities.
Maltesers Dark. They're very available now.
We know you don't have time to think about silicones. You're too busy to bother with parabens. And dyes don't fit into your schedule. Treseme's new Pro Pure collection gives you 100% professional results while leaving your hair at its best. Tresemme, 0% compromise, 100% you.
Dr. Murphy, we are doing all that we can.
Prepare for the thrilling new season of The Good Doctor, Tuesday on 7.
Get your footy news straight from the source.
From Alberton to West Lakes, the game's biggest names are on 7 News.
Plus, Cornsey, Campo, Koshy and Abba.
Right here on Channel 7.
The best place.
Expert analysis every night of every round. Know your footy. Adelaide's 7 News.
A very nice afternoon to be exploring some of the street art around Kilkenny. Currently it's 18 degrees, down to just 7 tonight. You're watching Adelaide's Afternoon News. Now, recapping our top stories. South Australians over the age of 50 are answering the call to get their COVID vaccinations, with the next phase of the rollout ramping up. Witnesses have told of the terrifying moment a tandem skydive almost turned a tragedy at McLaren Vale, with 2 men taken to hospital. A Welland shop owners had a lucky escape when a car smashed into her business on Grange Road this morning. Australian experts are trialling gene therapy as a possible way of reversing a common form of sight loss. More than 1 million Aussies have a form of macular degeneration. Sonia Marinelli has met the team that's working on a promising new technique.
Gene therapy is an exciting frontier when it comes to the treatment of eye diseases, and this Australian first clinical trial is looking at how the therapy can be used to treat dry, age-related macular degeneration. It's a condition which causes gradual and permanent loss of central vision that worsens over time, and it currently has no treatment or cure.
Gene therapy offers the potential for a one-off single treatment which could halt or at least slow the progression of this terrible disease.
20 patients have been recruited for the trial here at the Centre for Eye Research Australia, and it's expected to take 18 to 24 months to complete. It involves a single treatment in which doctors inject a safe modified virus into the back of the patient's eye, which will deliver the appropriate gene into the cells of the damaged retina. 1 in 7 Australians over the age of 50 show some signs of age-related macular degeneration, and the risk increases with age. It can have devastating impacts, which Robert Kerr, who's been living with it for the best part of 20 years, knows all too well.
If, for example, somebody like me was a member of the trial and it worked, my vision would stay as it is rather than get worse.
And if this trial is successful, then gene therapy could be used to treat patients with dry AMD in as little as 4 to 5 years.
Checking finance now with James Tower at CommSec. And James, Westpac impressed the market with its profit results today.
Yeah, good afternoon, Mike. It certainly did. In what was a rather uninspired session, a pretty flat close for the ASX 200. The banks were quite the standout. So we had Westpac lifting 5% today. It, of course, beat the market's expectations with its first half cash earnings, coming in at about $3.5 billion, more than triple what it produced this time last year. The numbers certainly impressed the market today. We also have ANZ and the National Bank releasing their first half profit results later this week. So really what we saw today were banks and telcos making gains. The rest of the market more or less in negative territory. Losses led by the likes of technology and also the resource, so mining and energy stocks weighing on the market. Premier Investments, the retail group, down a little more than 1%. It announced this morning it will be repaying about $15.6 million in JobKeeper payments that it received from the government in FY21. The Aussie dollar at the moment relatively steady as well. It's now buying 77.1 US cents ahead of tomorrow's RBA meeting.
Thanks, James. Well, there's a major boost for the Aussie film industry with work beginning on a big American TV series in Melbourne. Nick McCallum says they're making the city look like LA.
Normally it's a nondescript, pretty boring car park in Docklands, but today it's doubling as LA's glamorous Wilshire Boulevard. The first scene of the series, La Brea, a typical Californian traffic jam. But as people go about their business, a huge sinkhole appears using these green screens and special effects.
And dozens of people fall into that sinkhole, and they're transported to another time, which we discover is actually the year 10,000 BC.
Producers chose Melbourne because our palm trees and streetscapes are similar to LA, and they can make Mount Macedon close by look prehistoric.
Melbourne has some fantastic locations, beautiful locations that, feel like they could be in 10,000 BC.
Just as important, Australia is far ahead of America when it comes to containing COVID.
Around the world, we're seen as a place where COVID has been managed well,
and therefore we're an attractive place for global productions to come.
Knowing that it's not as big of an issue is, certainly takes a lot of the burden off production.
Nicholas Gonzalez of The Good Doctor and John Sader of Chicago PD are the main stars, but the production creates 290 jobs for local cast and crew and 1,000 extras, adding $60 million to the local economy.
So Victoria's screen industry is back in business.
The first episode of La Brea should air on America's free-to-air network NBC by the end of the year, and streaming services after that.
Yeah, we make them better here. Don't worry about it. Time for sport now, Nikki, and the scene is set for a memorable showdown.
Yeah, well, it's going to be the biggest crowd Adelaide Oval was seen in a long, long time since before COVID. Plus, both teams were pretty ordinary on the weekend, weren't they? So they might have a point to prove. And coming up, there's a couple of big name inclusions likely for both Port Adelaide and the Crows. Plus, Dave Warner faces an uncertain wait as his IPL dumping from the Sunrisers backfires spectacularly.
The big wheelin', earth-shaking, horn-honking, dirt-flinging, epic new season of Outback Truckers is so truckin' big that if I don't take a breath soon, my lungs will explode. I'm okay. Let's rock and roll! Brand new All Aussie Adventures.
Truck, yeah.
Big new challenges.
What's a truck? No service stations out here. Any vehicles on channel or anybody? Anybody?
Brand new Outback Truckers, Tuesday on...
Mate!
G'day, Sue. Join me for a walk?
I'd love to, but my legs are aching.
I had the same problem. You need Revitive. New Revitive Medic is the circulation booster that gets my leg muscles pumping, which could relieve aches and pains, swelling, and now cramps. Plus, it's drug-free. It's truth. Someone got Revitive. And now discover new Medic Coach with personalised therapy for maximum leg pain relief.
This Mother's Day, get your new Revitive Medic.
A single moment can make all the difference to a child.
I wished I had done foster caring a long time ago. I didn't know that you could foster a child being single, and I just get so much pleasure, and I know the children do too. Some of the moments that matter to me is seeing the joy on their faces when they arrive. It's wonderful.
For foster care that changes lives, contact Anglicare SA.
When it comes to cremations, there is a choice. Choose Centennial Park, a trusted name set in stunning surrounds. Choose care, a personal touch and dignity. Choose peace of mind, Contemplation Court, allowing you time to decide upon a more permanent memorial for your loved one. Adelaide Cremations at Centennial Park. Care like nobody else.
It's easy to spread germs around the home, but it's also easy to help protect your family by simply cleaning your home with Dettol. Helps stop the spread this winter. Kills 99.9% of germs, including the COVID-19 virus.
Come and meet the team at Knowles Island Star. Real enthusiasts with first-hand experience. They don't just sell the dream, they live it. So they'd love to help with your selection. A touring van, a family van. New or used. Chances are you'll realise your dream here at Adelaide's Oasis of Caravans, and you'll love the way they do business.
Knowles Caravans, Knowles Caravans, Knowles Caravans, Knowles Caravans.
New from Nivea, naturally good face care. Up to 99% naturally derived ingredients, plus 1% for stability and safety. For hydrated and naturally radiant skin. 100% transparency for 100% trust.
The $100,000 jackpot.
Thank you, Cash Cow.
Could you be next to win big on Sunrise tomorrow?
Hello again. Well, both the Crows and Power are sweating on some big names ahead of Showdown 49. Rory Sloane's making a case to return from an eye injury, while Travis Boak's in the frame despite some quad soreness.
The significance of Saturday night's blockbuster showdown can't be overstated. Adelaide Oval will be the centre of attention as it caters for the state's biggest football crowd since 2019.
You know, the fans here from both sides are very vocal and very loud, so yeah, it's going to be a great experience.
So this is just something
extra special, isn't it, as we get ready for the bounce of the ball?
It's fantastic. I think it's incredible what they've done, that pre-game stuff. It's really, really good. Gets me excited, and I'm sure it gets these boys excited every time they play.
And the Crows could be boosted by the return of skipper Rory Sloane. He's missed the last month after nearly losing sight in his right eye.
With those eye injuries, you've got to be very careful. And yeah, I think he's been given the all clear medically to put his hand up for this Saturday.
The big name inclusions keep rolling, with the Power expected to have star Travis Boak available. Defender Ryan Burton is also expected to play despite a rib problem. Last year's 75-point drubbing still burns for the Crows, but Darcy Byrne-Jones says the Power needs to stay ruthless against their old enemy.
I think I lost my first 4 or 5 showdowns, so to be able to win a couple in the recent years is huge, and we'll be looking to do the same on the weekend.
We are going to always revert back to that first game, and that's know that if we can play our best football, then we can compete with anyone in the competition.
Theo Doropoulos, 7 News.
Richmond triple premiership defender Nick Vlastuin is pushing to play in Friday night's grand final rematch against Geelong at the MCG. Vlastuin's knee is tracking a couple of weeks ahead of schedule.
The surgeon, Hayden Morris, he was really confident afterwards that where the cartilage was, it was up pretty high, so I won't really feel it running. So, yeah, he did say hopefully 3 to 4 if everything goes well, and I think we're about 3.5 weeks now, so, yeah, it's looking really good.
And Melbourne defender Adam Tomlinson's season is over, with scans confirming that he has done his ACL. Well, cricket now, the Indian Premier League season has become a nightmare for David Warner, now stranded in a nation gripped by a COVID catastrophe. Warner has been axed as captain and dumped from the Sunrisers Hyderabad 11. They've preferred Kiwi Kane Williamson and Englishman Johnny Bairstow.
He's been pretty good. He was obviously shocked and disappointed, which, you'd be disappointed if he wasn't feeling that way.
It didn't help the last place Sunrisers, who were thumped by 55 runs by the Rajasthan Royals. Away from the protests at Old Trafford, the battle for a top 4 finish in the Premier League continued. Tottenham crushed Sheffield 4-0 to climb to 5th on the table.
Setting it up for Bale, and there is his hat-trick.
Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang's acrobatics sealed a 2-0 win for Arsenal over Newcastle. Well, Scott McLaughlin claimed his second top 10 finish at IndyCar's Texas 300, the very first oval circuit race of the Supercar Champions rookie year. McLaughlin avoided total chaos on the opening lap.
Spinning out the back, we're yellow. Daly, Fittipaldi. Daly's upside down.
Lewis Hamilton took his 97th Formula One victory, winning the Portuguese Grand Prix ahead of Red Bull rival Max Verstappen. Daniel Ricciardo climbed from 16th to 9th. Australia's Jack Miller broke a 5-year drought to claim the second victory of his MotoGP career in the Spanish Grand Prix at Jerez. The 26-year-old from Townsville led a Ducati 1-2.
Ever since, let's say, turn 12, I've been on this bloody roller coaster and it just keeps going.
He's doing well. It puts Miller 27 points behind his teammate and right into the championship race. Adelaide 36ers coach Connor Henry believes his side can continue to improve for an unlikely playoff berth. The Sixers hit the court this morning after a big win over the Bullets on the weekend.
We've had bubble, injuries, travel, whatever, like all the teams. But we've always seemed to bounce back. We've always seemed to put a good physical effort on the court. I think we're going to be much better mentally overall going forward.
Next up, they face the Taipans at home tomorrow night. It was Paddy Mills versus Ben Simmons in the NBA this morning into overtime. Simmons had 3 points with 1 field goal, but came up big when it mattered. His tip-in on the buzzer won it for the 76ers over the Spurs. Well, John Florence's love affair with Margaret River continues. Already a 2-time winner at the famous break south of Perth. Florence eased into the round of 16 this afternoon.
Oh, that is so beautiful to watch. Incredible. John Florence at his best.
Aussie Olympics squad member Owen Wright lost to Brazilian Peterson Cristano. Steph Gilmore survived the elimination round to reach the last 16 of the women's event, and some incredible surf there at Margaret River. And you just can't see how the Crows can possibly beat Port Adelaide on the weekend, can you, in the showdown?
Of course you can, Nikki. Tex kicks 10, Rory plays the best game he's ever played and they'll get close.
Yeah, we've been hoping all year for 10 from Tex, haven't we? So maybe Saturday night will be the night.
You have little faith, Nikki. We'll see. Thanks for that. Well, we haven't seen any southern riots at Victor yet, but some smaller whales have been spotted playing along the east coast. That's next on the afternoon news, and some cooler days ahead. Amelia will be back with the forecast right after the break.
This is Big Brother. Your job is to not react.
Oh my God.
No matter what Big Brother throws at you.
The housemates will do anything to survive this night.
Come at you like a freight train.
One little slip and you're gone.
Ready to make deals with the devil.
What would you say is your greatest fear?
One of them is fairy spiders.
But my biggest surprise is right above them. What will happen in my attic?
New Big Brother, tonight after Home and Away on 7.
Be warm at home with Harvey Norman. Get snug with a Sunbeam Feel Perfect Micro Plush Heated Throw, only $89. Get cozy with the Dimplex Ritz Electric Flame Effect Heater, only $349. The powerful new DeLonghi Dragon 4 Pro Oil Column Heater, only $379. Or this energy-efficient wind-free split system from Samsung, just $999, plus bonus $100 Harvey Norman gift card, plus 60 months interest-free with bonus gift cards on now at Harvey Norman.
Go! The Australian Outdoor Living Sale is on now. Enjoy a perfect lawn all year round without the hard work. Bring your backyard dreams to life with artificial grass by Australian Outdoor Living.
Make the advertiser just for you. Use the new My News function on our website and follow what you love to customise your own newsfeed. Subscribe now for full digital access for $1 a week for the first 12 weeks. Search the advertiser offer.
Marty Rowan returns to Oz to recreate his record-breaking, unparalleled tribute to Sir Cliff Richard. Sir Cliff and I, all the hits, Devil Woman, Denim and Lace, Sir Cliff and I.
Come on, Dan, that's Up and Go, no added sugar. It's next level goodness. Well, now we're talking, Dan, now we're talking. Up and Go, no added sugar.
With Ancestry DNA, I can explore deeper connections with the people and places from my past and discover more of my family story today.
There could be more to your story too. Piece it together with Ancestry DNA.
G'day, Sue. Join me for a walk?
I'd love to, but my legs are aching.
I had the same problem. You need Revitive. New Revitive Medic is the circulation booster that gets my leg muscles pumping, which could relieve aches and pains, swelling, and now cramps. Plus, it's drug-free. Truth! Someone got Revitive. And now discover new Medic Coach with personalised therapy for maximum leg pain relief.
This Mother's Day, get your new Revitive Medic.
They've travelled all 7 continents.
I worked in Antarctica.
They've experienced it all.
My goodness, 4 near-death experiences.
Do these globetrotters have what it takes to beat a quizzing master?
Correct, Joyce, correct.
One of the closest finishes you'll ever see.
Stop the clock.
New The Chase, weekdays on 7.
This weather report is brought to you by Revitive Circulation Booster. Get Revitive today. It just might change your life. Sit back and relax. It's your Revitive time.
Good afternoon, it's Bethany Hisker from the Lumo Energy Traffic Centre. In Crafers on the freeway up track, the middle lane is out and speeds are reduced in both directions for work, so expect the usual delays through there. In Torrens Park, there's a burst water main on Belair Road near Kays Road, so expect delays through there as well. Lumo Energy SA, 100% Australian owned with energy plans and great local rewards made for Adelaide. Visit lumoenergy.com.au for details. That's the latest Adelaide traffic. Now back to you, Mike.
Thanks, Bethany. Well, the whale watching season is underway along the east coast, with one of the first whales spotted enjoying the sights off Sydney. Cameras on our news chopper captured pictures of the small humpback splashing, barrel rolling and tail slapping as it travelled up the coast. Now let's get a check of the weather, and Amelia, it sounds like it's going to be a cold night ahead. I might take a hottie to bed with me.
Oh, one of them. OK, well, whatever helps you, Smitho, because we're dropping down to the single digits overnight, and we've got a couple of nights like this on the way as well. Here at Penfolds at McGill this afternoon, we have had the odd shower too. All this month, they're running tours of the grounds here called 1844 to Evermore, where you get to have a sneak peek inside some of the heritage-listed buildings and, of course, finish the tour with a glass of wine as well. It's all part of South Australia's History Festival, which is on all May. In the city today, we hit a top of 20.3 this afternoon, with southwesterly winds persisting for much of the day. They've helped along the odd shower. Not a drop in the West Terrace gauge, so to speak, though, but the best falls have been about the hills and southern suburbs. This morning, the temperature dropped to a low of 10.7, and right now it's 19 in the city. Elsewhere, 21 in Sydney, where it's a mostly clear afternoon. There are just areas of smoke haze about the western suburbs. Showers are rolling through Melbourne at the moment. Currently 15 degrees there, just 11 in Hobart, with 4 millimetres in the gauge there after a weak cold front clipped the southeast of the country today. Now, a high-pressure system in the southwest is taking control over SA's weather. It'll work to clear skies over the next couple of days ahead of a change that's expected later in the week. Tomorrow, it's looking sunny and mild across our far north. 24 is the forecast top for Murray, 23 for Cooper Pedy and Moomba, up to 22 in Ceduna, 21 in Port Pirie, just 16 for Clare and Mount Gambier, and in Uriutpa, where a low of 3 degrees is tipped tonight, with areas of frost tipped over and to the east of the ranges. Now, it should be a dry day with just a slight chance of a morning shower about southern coasts. In the city, a low of 7 degrees is on the way, down to 5 at Mount Barker. Then a dry day's in store, 18's the forecast top. Now, we do have a couple of days like that on the way, so some cooler conditions, but it would be a lovely day, I tell you what, Smitho, to rug up and come here to Penfolds for a tour. And if you'd like a deep dive into their history, well, our very own Ron Candelars is taking a good look at how Penfolds began on SA Weekender on Sunday.
Great stuff. Thanks for that. And that's all from 7 Adelaide's afternoon news team. Jane will have our next bulletin at 6 o'clock. Bye for now.
I sincerely hope someone has died.
Dead.
We believe it may have been murder. An unsolvable crime. D.R. Lewis.
We're gonna need more men.
A lady should always act like a lady.
She's good.
Where do we stop?
Good question.
None of it fits.
Bring me facts.
The evidence is right there in front of you.
This is my favourite part. We're off to catch the culprit. I mean, there might be a chase or a heartfelt confession.
I was having a cuppa. You had a cup of tea while you were on duty.
I did not kill him.
It was you.
How do you know so much about all this?
Because I make it my business to know. I imagine you want to know why. It's worth asking a question, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes, I killed them. God help me, I killed them all.
What did you think of the ending?
The ending was marvellous, moving, touching.
Well, I can't think of any other way it could have happened. Can you?
There's one place you can piece together all the great British mysteries. Here's a clue.
These 4 strangers must work as a team to win thousands of dollars, but standing in their way is one of the sharpest minds.